Hey, hi guys. Do you know what? People often ask me about what makes a salesperson. What is a true definition of what makes a salesperson compared to people that kind of don't really sell very well or play along with selling. And you know, I've got an absolute brilliant definition of what makes a really good salesperson. It's quite simple, really. Good salespeople, they close the sale. Now, I'm not talking about closing as the old 1980s term. One of my favourite movies of all time, Glengarry and Glen. Do you remember that film? Yeah. Great film. You know, a guy there called Alec Baldwin, fantastic actor. And he waltzes in to clean up this sales act, doesn't he? And he goes in, he says, all these sort of Zig Ziglar type phrases, always be closing, he called it. ABC of closing, always be closing. Now, personally, I think that's a bit sort of old era, isn't it? A bit of the 1980s style. But the true fact is that good salespeople move the sale along. They help the customer buy. And I don't think we sell anymore, we do help customers buy. They help the customer buy to the end of the sales process. Salespeople that don't sell very well just don't make that happen. They just let the customer sort of wallow in the mud, if you like. So that's what I think makes a good salesperson, the ability to close. Now back to Alec in the film Glengarry, Glen. Always be closing, he shouted to his people. And he got them to close at every opportunity. But the problem with that, if you always start closing, is you're going to get what I call knee-jerk reactions. Now, I was fascinated as a kid, I don't know about yourself, when doctors would get a little hammer and they would knock the knee, wouldn't they, of the patient, and the knee would, or the leg would just react upwards. Do you ever do that yourself with a little hammer? Maybe you can have a little go yourself, see if it works with a hammer over there. That's it. It works, doesn't it? He goes. Now that's a knee-jerk reaction. Now the problem with those, you see, is if you're selling to a customer, be it in a retail environment or wherever, it doesn't matter, and you close too early, you're going to get a knee-jerk reaction. And the sort of thing I'm talking about here is, I'm not interested, or I need to think about it. You know, the kind of things, people you see, they haven't even thought it through, they give you a knee-jerk reaction, and that's pretty dangerous stuff. Have you ever been in a store on a Saturday, you walk into PC World or Curry's, and you walk in there, and you look around, and you think, oh great, what am I, and somebody waltzes up to you, can I help you please, sir? Or can I help you please, madam? What do you say? No, just looking, not interested, because it's too early. That's the whole point, you see. And you say, well, thank you, but no, you know, I'm just looking. And then you start looking around, and you start wanting some help. And you look around, where's that salesperson when I need them? Because you actually needed some help at that point. And that's what I mean about knee-jerk reactions. Salespeople, we want to be careful of those things. So let me talk about some ideas to help you with your closing. Give you some ideas and tips and techniques to help you with your closing. And the one I want to talk to you about now is what I call test and trial closing. Again, it's a phrase from the old 1980s textbooks, but I want you to really think about this, because always be closing is right, but it's not like a full-blown close. You need to test the customer. You need to find out how they're doing. They're looking to buy from you at some point, so you want to test the water, see how they are wanting to take you to the next stage. Now, let me tell you a little story about testing and trialing. Now, I just love Christmas, don't you? I just love Christmas. A lot of people moan about Christmas, don't they? It's too commercialised, and you know, there's too much money, and it's not religious anymore. But you know, I just love Christmas. I think it's a great time, and we pack our house full of people. This Christmas we had 18 people, friends and family. And my wife loves all of that because she's a chef by trade, and she cooks fantastic food and entertains everybody as much as possible. I don't know about yourselves, guys, but I love turkey. Do you like turkey? It's, you know, people don't like turkey so much. They have goose and beef and things, but turkey is the meat to have on Christmas. And we actually cooked 2 turkeys this year, massive, great big things they were. Bunged them in the oven, bunged them in the Aga. We cooked them up for Christmas lunch. And they were gorgeous. I love turkey. I'm feeling quite hungry now, actually. But turkey itself is a great food because, do you know, you don't eat a lot at Christmas Day, do you, at lunchtime? Because you're full, aren't you, with other things like chocolates and stuff. So, one in the afternoon, you've got turkey to eat, don't you? You cut it up cold. And you have it with your piccalilli, your pickled onions, and your pickles and things. And then you settle down for the day. Next day, where does the turkey find itself? In the stew, or in the casserole, or sliced up nice and cold in sandwiches. Eventually, it gets reduced to a carcass. Now that's when my wife really gets going, because she grabs the carcasses, puts in this huge great pot, like a sort of a wicked witch pot, you know, and it bubbles away for 2 or 3 days on the Aga. And the smell, oh, it's lush, it really is. A few days later, it turns miraculously into a soup. And that's when we celebrate our main Christmas day with soup. And we have this great big bowl of soup, and we take a spoonful. Here we go. You're not going to go, are you? It's going to burn you. It's going to burn your tongue. It's going to burn your mouth. So what do we do instead? We take a spoon and we sip it, don't we? Oh, that's a bit hot. We blow it. Sip a bit more. That's nice. And then you get the full taste of the soup. Now that little analogy there is how we should close. Because you're not asking the customer to go ahead, are you ready to spend some money now? Where's your credit card? You're not going to do that, are you? Because it's going to be too early. Like with a soup, you're not going to drink it down very quickly, are you? Because you burn yourself. So what we want to do is test the customer, just see how they're feeling about it. How does that sound to you? Is this something of use to you? Is this something you're looking for? Just test them along the way. I want to give you a little technique now to help you with your testing. And we call this yes tags. Now yes tags are great things, aren't they? The thing about yes tags is it allows you to create a suggestion. And then you tag it at the end, because what we want to do is get our customer to nod a little bit to gain agreement from them. Because we're looking at getting commitment here, aren't we? Yes. Don't you think the lunch was great?
Yeah.
This room, actually, I like this room. Don't you? You see what I'm doing there? Obviously I'm playing a bit of a game here, but yes tags allow you to get a little bit of a nod from the customer. I'm not saying you should do them all the time, please don't. You will end up in a 1980s salesperson, nodding dog kind of thing, isn't it? You don't want to do that. Customers are a bit more intelligent these days. In fact, customers are ahead of the game compared to salespeople nowadays. But when you make a statement about your product, for example, it could be, this car looks fantastic, if you're selling cars. Or if you're selling a mortgage or insurances, you could say, this mortgage package is absolutely suited to you. You're making a statement, a routine kind of statement, an influential statement about your product, and then you tag it at the end. Don't you think? Isn't it? Don't you? So this mortgage package is absolutely ideal for you, isn't it? And that will get a little nod from the customer. We call them yes tags. They actually get people to sort of nod away and make it so they're interested in your product or service. Okay, so I'm talking here about gaining commitment as you go, testing the customer, seeing how it's going. But at the end of the day, as a salesperson, you've got to be able to move the sale onwards. You've got to take it to the next stage. That's what good salespeople do. As I mentioned earlier, salespeople that play at it don't take it to the next stage. So at some point, you're going to have to close the customer. You're going to have to ask them for the business. You're going to have to actually look at taking a credit card, a payment, whatever it is, you're going to have to move it to the end. And the problem with that is you may get some form of concern, some kind of objections. Now I want to show you something now, how the world has changed. Because a traditional sales textbook would tell you to close and overcome objections. We've all heard those things before, haven't we? And I bet you guys have all got techniques that you use to overcome objections that you've read in books and things. Now, I've got to be honest with you, that's nonsense. That doesn't work anymore. The reason for that is customers have changed. Well, customers haven't actually changed. They're still the same sort of people, but they are actually now more in control than ever before. Customers probably know more about your product or service than you do. If you're selling a mortgage, a car, a widget, they've Googled the widget. They've Googled the competition for the widget as well. They know more about that product or service than you will ever do. And it's quite frightening because they know the weaknesses of your product or service. So what we need to do as salespeople is we need to build into our sales process things that overcome the weaknesses of our product or service. Because if we don't, the customer will, and they'll put you on the spot. Now let me just illustrate this for you with another story from my life, which is just sprinkled with stories. Now we have a holiday once a year, usually in August. I love August, the time of the year. Business gets slow, so we like to head out to France for a couple of weeks. Now France is a lovely part of the world. I love the west coast of France, where you've got the Vendée beaches, the beautiful sands, the warm sunshine. The wine, of course, helps as well. And French people, they do their camping and their holidays pretty better than we do, if I'm honest with you there. They take their holidays very seriously in France, and their campsites are fantastic places. And the idea is you get a big static caravan which has 3 or 4 bedrooms nowadays. They're very luxurious. And you pitch in there with the family and you enjoy the sand and the sun and the sea and the pool and the food and the wine. And the good thing is you book your van up in advance. You know the kind of caravan static you're going to have because they're all branded, aren't they? So you know what kind of caravan you're going to get. But what you don't know when you pitch up with the car and the bikes and the trailer, what you don't know is where you're going to be. In the caravan site itself, you could be anywhere. You could be next to the karaoke bar at night time, for example. You hear people talking Tom Jones and screaming, keeping you up at night. You could be next to the swimming pool and all you hear all day is just noise. You could be next to the family from hell, couldn't you? And all you can hear is arguments and shouting and all those things going on. You just don't know where you're going to be. It's a lottery. It's quite scary, actually. You turn up, and we did this last year. We turned up with the car, 3 kids in the back, big trailer, bikes everywhere, 5-hour drive, exhausted. And Sharon came up to me from Matthew's Holidays, who we use, and she said, "Hi, Mr. Archer, I'm going to take you to your caravan." I thought, oh no, where are we going to be? And she got on her bike, and she said, "Follow me." So I started driving, following her along this caravan and camping site, huge site, acres of space. She stopped the bike, came back to me, I wound down the window, and she said, "Do you know what?" she said. I said, "What's that, Sharon?" She said, "The people that were in the caravan that you're going to go to now had a wonderful 2 weeks holiday." I said, "That's great, good for them." They had a brilliant time, they said to me. They really enjoyed where they were. They were close to all the amenities and the restaurants, and they really had a fantastic holiday as a result of that. And they left this morning saying what a great place it was. I thought, oh, okay, okay, this sounds interesting. Thanks, Sharon, for that. And she got back on her bike and she headed off to where we were. We went towards the entrance of the park. We looped round and we ended up right at the gate of the park. And outside the gate of the park was a road with amusements and restaurants, and our caravan was bang centre right next to the gate. I thought, this doesn't look so good. And just before I was going to complain, I then said to Sharon, the people enjoyed themselves, didn't they? And I thought to myself, they did. They liked the location, they liked the proximity to the amusements and the restaurants, so maybe it's going to be okay. And in the end, we had a great 2 weeks holiday, thoroughly enjoyed being close to everything that we needed. The point there is that Sharon, not a trained salesperson at all, I don't know if she did it on purpose, but she preempted the problem that was going to happen. She preempted the problem. She knew it was going to cause a problem, because obviously it did before, didn't it? And she built into her sales pitch some arguments why it wasn't a problem anymore. And we accepted it. It was fine. Sharon was very clever that day. Now in reality, it's exactly what it's all about. You must preempt your objections. Find out what they are by talking to your competition. Your customer will tell you what they are anyway, so find out what they are and build into your sales process the fact that you're going to be doing some preempting of your objections.